Welcome to MJC Learning, Standard 12th for the subject Economics. I warmly welcome all our students for another session of MJC Learning. So far, we have learnt about or we have started with the chapter 3A, that is Demand Analysis. In this chapter, we have first of all understood the basic meaning of demand, that was nothing but demand refers to desire plus ability to pay and willingness to pay. Then we have understood the definition given by Benham, wherein he says that the demand for anything at a given price is the amount of it which will be bought under per unit at a particular price, which in short means that demand is a relative concept and it is in respect to time and place as well as the quantity. Then we have also understood about demand schedule, which was a tabular representation of various price and quantity demanded for a particular commodity. And in that, we have learnt about individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. Now, we are going to today learn about the demand curve, to be precise. Before learning why demand curve slopes downwards from left to right, we should first understand what exactly is a demand curve. Now here we can better understand the concept with the help of this graph, wherein in this diagram we can see that the x-axis represents the quantity which is demanded and the y-axis measures the price, that is from 0 till 6. Now we can see here that when the price was 5, the quantity demanded was 10 kg. When the price was lowered to 4 rupees, the demand increased from 10 kg to 20 kg. You can see this. And so on when the price gradually turned down to rupees 1, the quantity demanded was maximum, that was in the range of 50 kgs. Now from this diagram, we can very well understand that at a higher price, least of the commodity is demanded, and when the price is reducing, the quantity demands goes on increasing, which in other words means that there is an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded. And that is why we can say that our demand curve, this is our demand curve. Now, how is it moving? It is moving downwards from left to right. Now we are going to understand why the demand curve slopes downwards from left to right. The very first reason is the law of diminishing marginal utility. Yes, students, you are correct. The chapter number 2 is the very first reason wherein we have understood that as a consumer is increasing his stock for a commodity, its utility goes on diminishing. Therefore, the consumer is going to buy more when the price is going to fall. The second reason is the income effect. What is the relationship between the price and income? We have seen over here there is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. Now we are talking on a different term but with the similar connection. When a person's income rises or increases, his ability to pay or purchasing capacity increases. When a person starts to earn more than the previous, his commodities purchasing power will increase. Correct? And what will happen to this? The consumer will buy more of that commodity, and that is why it is said to have an income effect. Moving on to the third reason, that is substitution effect. When the price of commodity, a particular commodity, here we can take an example of Coca-Cola. If the price of Coca-Cola rises, the demand for Pepsi will increase because the Coca-Cola will be expensive for people to buy, and that is why they are going to buy more of Pepsi. Correct? Because Pepsi will be cheaper in respect to Coca-Cola. That is why people are going to buy more of the Pepsi rather than Coca-Cola because the price of Coca-Cola has increased. The fourth reason is the multi-purpose use. When a commodity can be used for various things, that means if a particular commodity is increasing the satisfaction level by various uses, its demand will rise with the fall in its price. For example, sugar. We can use sugar in our coffee, tea, juices, milkshake, cake, biscuits, pastries, and whatnot. That means one single product can be utilized in various things, and that is why if the price of that particular commodity will fall, its demand will rise. Students, now let us move on to the types of demand. There are basically 5 types of demand. Let us begin with the very first demand known as direct demand. Direct demand means this particular commodity is demanded to satisfy the human wants very directly. You can say consumer goods have direct demand. For example, food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, the shoes, the umbrella, all these things are the example of direct demand. That means the consumer will purchase in order to satisfy them directly. Second type of demand is known as indirect demand. I will explain you this term with the help of an example. Here we can see logs of wood. right? The chunks of wood is here, and this can be used in making table, right? We can also make use in the terms of blackboard, cupboards, multi-purpose uses, remember? Yes. The example with that of a sugar. So, indirect demand, that means when wood is demanded, it will not be directly satisfying the human want, but it will take the form of another commodity that will be used by the consumer. That is why indirect demand is also known as derived demand, because when goods are demanded to produce another goods, that is woods are demanded to produce furniture. Moving on to the third type of demand, known as joint demand. Joint demand, as the word says, the commodity is demanded to satisfy a single need. For example, you will need water, sugar, milk, and tea just to make tea for you. Or you can say, if you're a coffee lover, we can take sugar, coffee, milk, water. Right? That means in order to satisfy one single want, there are various commodities that are jointly demanded. Car and petrol is another example. If a person is demanding car, he will have to demand the petrol as well. Otherwise, the car will be of no use. Okay? Moving on to the fourth kind, that is composite demand. When goods are demanded in order to satisfy several wants. There are various wants that we have, right? We cannot wait for our one want to complete and then start another. For example, electricity. Now, electricity is used in to run your TV, washing machine, fridge, mixer grinder, fan, AC, microwave, and whatnot. That means electricity has composite demand because it satisfies various wants of a human being. Moving on to the last type, that is competitive demand. Competitive demand means they are in competition with each other. For example, tea versus coffee. If the person is not able to find coffee, he might switch over to demand tea. That means when the demand for commodity competes with its substitute, it is called as, yes, competitive demand. So students, let us revise what we have learned today. So we have started up with the basic meaning of demand curve, wherein we have learned that the demand curve slopes downwards from left to right, which shows that it has an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded. Then we have understood the reasons why the demand curve slopes from left to right. So the very first reason was the law of diminishing marginal utility, the income effect, the substitution effect, the multi-purpose uses. Then we learnt the types of demand, in which we have understood about direct demand, indirect demand, joint demand, composite demand, and competitive demand. So, dear students, I hope you have understood as well as enjoyed this session with MJC Learning. Till then, let us enjoy, keep learning, and be safe. Thank you.